Tell me that again, about the spring. It's on now.
Talk to her about the spring.
Well, the spring, I don't know, I guess my brothers built the spring. We had the wash house, what I call the wash house, because they had where they wash clothes down at the spring, where they wouldn't have to tote water so far. And they would, you had an old iron pot that you put your clothes in, and you had a furnace. That pot was set in, and you boiled your clothes. And you had a wooden paddle that you kept them stirred up and all. And then you had benches out from there, and you had wash tubs, 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever. And you'd take them out of that tub, one like the old overalls and things like that. They'd boil all them, and you use Red Devil Eye soap most of the time is what you had. Well, then you'd take them out. You'd take them out of that there old pot that boiled them in. And you'd put them in one tub, and you rinsed them through that one, and you'd put them in the other, and rinse them through that about 3 or 4 times before you hung them out.
How often did you all do washing?
Well, it was pretty often at the house. As many young'uns you had.
And they also washed for other people.
Yeah.
So when you got to the end of those wash tubs, did you then put them through the wringer? Did you wring them out like that?
Most time you wrung it out with your hands.
Oh wow! And then hung them up to dry.
Well, because we didn't even have no electricity at that house. Or you could have wringed them out if you had one of them old crank wringers.
That's what I was thinking.
But I don't think we had that.
Wow, that sounds like a whole lot of work.
Tell her about the spring house.
Well, the spring house, my brothers built a spring house just down from a spring about 5 feet down the stream, and they built it and you had just a walking path in the center of it, and you'd put your butter and eggs and ever what you had you wanted to keep it cool, and you keep it cool for a few days, or maybe like butter would keep a week or more, and so that's the only way you had to keep things cool, or else you had to have a refrigerator or an ice box or something, you know.
And there was an ice plant in Saluda, wasn't there?
No.
An ice house where it was stored.
They brought it from Tryon.
Okay, but probably it was very common to have the spring house to keep the.
Well, you know, just everybody couldn't afford the ice, even think had it here for them to buy. If you had meats or something, you'd have to have, you know, an ice box so where you could keep your meats and things like that in. But not like butter or eggs or something. You wouldn't keep them but a week. So
How did you all store your meats?
well, meat didn't last long around the house.
So you killed what you needed, and
when you killed your hogs, you rendered took your hams and shoulders and everything and salt and the side meat and salted it all down, and he would keep under salt. Then the rest you had, it didn't take you long to eat it up.
So did you help with the hog killing?
Well, when I got big enough, and I helped with the hog killing, but you know, when there's so many young ones are to eat, we eat a lot of wild meat. Rabbits and squirrels. I had one brother, he'd rabbit hunt in the daytime, and me and my brother would possum hunt at night.
And they eat what they caught, too.
Did y'all go coon hunting?
We never did coon hunt. We didn't have coon dogs. We had rabbit dogs, we had possum dogs, but we never had coon dogs.
Did you have coon dogs as you got older? No, never have cared for those.
I used to have rabbit dogs, beagles. I never did I've coon hunted with other people, but we've never owned a coon dog.
What, your dogs, Colonel and Major?
Yeah,
Those were your rabbit dogs.
rabbit dogs and possum dogs.
I didn't know there was such a thing as possum dogs.
That's where your possum.
Sure.
Well, I did not know that people use dogs to hunt possums. I just never.
Well, how did you get the possum?
Well, they're not real bright. They'd probably be pretty easy to catch.
I remember one night me and my brother was hunting. We was down next to the Pearson Fall Road, and the dogs treed up a little hemlock. It wasn't about that big. And these hemlocks, you know, most all of them has got limbs almost to the ground. And my brother Eugene said, I'll just go up there and knock it out, and you hold the dog. Or I'll go up there and catch it. I said, well, go right ahead. He went up there and he went to reach it. That possum had his back turned to him, and he went to reach it and catch it around the neck, and he turned around and bit him through the hand. It was an old black possum. And he come down there, I pulled out my old handkerchief and gave him, and he wrapped his hand up and got him a stick.
Was that Jim?
Yeah, I went back up the hemlock, and he beat that possum down, and I held the dog. And when the possum fell out to the ground, I turned the dog loose, and the dog grabbed the possum, and I got the possum by the tail and got the dog off of the possum. And I hadn't much more than got the dog off the possum. The blame possum was growling at me.
Well, do you blame him?
Well, you know, back in you could walk along the road and see a possum, if it wasn't a black possum, and kick it. Maybe it'd just turn over like it's dead and wouldn't even run. But they wasn't mean then. In later years, they got mean.
They got smart. Maybe they're not quite so dumb as we thought.
That's right.
Okay, you were about to tell us about the best way to cook a possum. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the best way to cook a possum is boil it, and then take it out of the pot and put it in a pan, and then you take your sweet potatoes and slice them. You sweet potatoes, and you lay them all around that possum, and you bake that possum. And that grease comes out of that possum on them sweet potatoes, and it makes them real good.
So you do eat the sweet potatoes as well.
You eat the sweet potatoes and the possum both.
So that's some good eating, huh?
I had a nephew who could eat one of them holding himself.
A whole possum all by himself?
Yeah, he loved them that well. And I had a half brother, he was the same way. Weston was the same way. Horace Pace, I know you know about Horace.
Had a big sign on his barn, eat more possum.
Did he really? Eat more possum.
But a possum, as far as the taste of it, of the meat, it's real good. But my half brother used to take a possum and he'd catch it, and he'd catch it in a box trap most of the time. And when he caught that possum, he'd put it in a pen and feed it buttermilk and all this, that, and the other for about a week or two before he killed it. And he said that got the possum cleaned out.
Because possums are known to eat anything, so
Possum, I've even heard people like an old dead cow or something die, you know, and start to rot, and they even see them inside of them, you know, getting something to eat.
So I think that if I was gonna eat a possum, I think I'd keep it for a week and get it cleaned out too. That's pretty good. You and Eugene were possum hunting one night?
Yeah, you got that?
It's on now. Okay, it was foggy.
It was foggy, and we didn't have nothing but an old kerosene lantern, and it didn't give out much light. And we were hunting down next to number 1 switch, next to the railroad down there, and it was so foggy and dark, and with that lantern you couldn't see hardly anywhere. And Eugene stepped off of that bank and rolled down that bank towards the railroad track. He got to hollering for me. I wouldn't answer him for a long time. And finally I answered him, there's a train coming up the mountain. I know I'd have to answer him because he knew that train's going to give enough light that he know what happened to him.
Well, you boys had a good time, but you didn't know it then.
Well, you know, like I said a while ago, we didn't know it anybody else lived a better life than we lived, and you know, we just made the best of it we could. My daddy one time told my brothers, I wasn't big enough to do much, I was pretty small, told my brothers, he said, boys, says, we got to cover this house, that I don't think these shingles are going to last through the winter. And so my brothers went and cut the trees and sold them in the blocks like they wanted them. And my daddy split out the boards. And it was a wooden board, you know, as you split out, you made your own wooden board. And they covered the house. Now the house wasn't solid sheeted. They just had shifts on there to where they tack them shingles on to. So what they done, they put those shingles on, and then I don't know just how long it was when it came winter, but when it came winter, it came a blowing snow. And we sprinkled up and took it out in a wash tub from upstairs. Rolled in on the bed and everything. The shingles was on, but they hadn't laid down tight enough.
Oh,
and when the wind blowed, it blew that and under them shingles, and it wasn't solid sheeting. It come on down on the bed.
And y'all had to
And
pull that up and haul it out.
my mother was always making quilts, and so we had plenty of quilts on the bed. And I know all about what Jimmy Dickens, that song he sings about sleeping at the foot of the bed, because a lot of times